right now on 5 on your side at 10.
Making a splash at Millennium Park.
Is it too hot to be out here?
No. When you're out here, it's perfect.
You love the heat.
Yeah.
A look at the grand reopening and how you can beat this upcoming heat. And gas station gambling.
Kids my age, I definitely have a fair amount of buddies that I know who have lost a good amount of money throughout gambling.
The controversy around the machines popping up across the state.
But first tonight at 10, we are in storm alert. Strong winds, rain, thunder, and lightning make their way across the bi-state tonight. Thanks so much for joining us. I'm Kelly Jackson.
And I'm Mike Bush. These storms come after we were slammed with a heat wave that'll be here for the next 10 days at least. Jim Castillo is in for Scott Connell, and he's here with our Weather First forecast.
Yeah, they extended the severe thunderstorm watch that includes St. Louis City and County north and westward. And most of the lightning and thunder around the metro and those storms have been sub-severe, but we are watching some very intense storms anywhere from just northwest of Gasconade County all the way back through Columbia and then back into just north of Kansas City. See this red polygon? Let's zoom in a little bit here. That is a tornado warning. So we're going to watch this cell. There's been rotation indicated with this cell as it moves southeast at about 40 miles an hour. Does look like it's weakened just a little bit, but you can see where that little couplet is right there. It passed over Interstate 70. It's headed right toward Fulton. And again, no confirmed reports of a tornado, but it is headed south and eastward. So we're watching Gasconade County. So if it does hold together, just be warned here, Gasconade, it'll arrive at about 10:21 p.m. and we're hoping that this thing does die out. Other than that, we have showers and storms from St. Louis all the way through northern portions of Jefferson County, but again, sub-severe, and that line goes all the way into Litchfield. So we have a couple more hours to go to watch these storms, and I'll have another update, especially on this cell right here, in just a few minutes.
All right, thanks, Jim. About 200 kids, moms, dads didn't mind today's hot summer-like weather. Just hours ago, they packed Millennium Park in Creve Coeur for the park's grand reopening. Millennium Park underwent a multi-million-dollar makeover. New tonight, Robert Townsend shows us the new attractions kids couldn't get enough of.
A beautiful blue sky, lots of sunshine made for a picture-perfect fun time for so many people at Millennium Park in Creve Coeur Thursday.
It's so cool and I love it.
I think it's wonderful.
After months of construction and waiting, kids of all ages enjoyed every minute of the popular park's grand reopening. They and their parents packed this place to see the park's new, bigger playground. 13-year-old Regina Gill and her cousins enjoyed every spin on the unique merry-go-round.
It's really big, so I love running and going in the water and stuff. It's really fun.
I like the new stuff here, especially this area right here, because I like to climb things.
Extremely excited.
Mayor Robert Hoffman couldn't wait to show us their $2.5 million makeover. The park's spruced up playground is designed with all little ones in mind.
Swings for disabled children. The parent can actually sit on the swing facing the child.
Feel free to join me.
Parents and their children also danced, ate lots of good food, and cooled down on lots of ice cream and cold drinks.
On a hot day like today, you bet the new expanded splash pad was definitely the most popular place to be.
I think that the splash pad is super fun. Everybody can join in. It's so fun. I'm all wet.
Mission accomplished, Millennium Park.
It's nice to see it actually come to fruition.
Robert Townsend.
It's hot, but I'm having a good time.
5 on your side.
And if you missed tonight's celebration, no need to worry. Millennium Park is open 7 days a week from dawn until dusk.
Some good news for drivers with temporary tags. A loan program through the city of St. Louis is moving forward. And in just a few months, city residents will be able to apply for assistance. 5 on your side's Laura Barczewski is live outside City Hall with new information. Laura.
Mike, the temporary tag loan program will not only help people get current with their plates, it'll also help them with insurance, but there are some requirements. St. Louis resident Andy Crossett says it can be frustrating to see so many expired temporary tags on the streets.
It's starting to get better, I think, but it's still a problem, no question.
He says while safety is always a concern, he's also worried about what people and programs might miss out on.
Well, I'm concerned more about the funds that the property tax goes to, making sure the schools are being funded properly and the museums and all those things that these taxes pay for. And it's troubling if everybody's not contributing like they're supposed to.
But there's help on the way. Connor Kerrigan with Mayor Tashara Jones' office says the city has approved the contract for nonprofit Justine Peterson to help drivers with expired temporary tags get a loan to cover the tax and even insurance.
These people are expected to pay back the loan once they get into compliance, and they will be working with financial literacy coaches to help them make sure that they repay that loan.
That loan money comes from a pool of $315,000 out of the Department of Public Safety budget, which taxpayers contribute to. To qualify for a temp tag loan, people have to make 80% of the median income. For a family of 4, that's a total income of roughly $80,000.
We know that they'll need to prove that income level, and they'll also need to prove ability to repay the loan. So it's a 0% interest loan. However, there are late fees that can be up to 5% of the overdue amount.
Kerrigan says they know enforcement alone isn't going to cut it, but they are ramping up citations for expired temp tags. You can get a ticket for it even when you're parked.
Treasurer's office is writing more citations, SLMPD is writing more citations, but we need to take a holistic view of how to solve this problem, and this is just one part of that.
The temp tag loan program will start this upcoming fall. Reporting live downtown, Laura Barcheski, 5 on your side.
Just a few hours ago, we learned that the Radiation Exposure Compensation Act did not make it past the House of Representatives. It failed by a 9-4 vote. The act, known as RECA, would have provided compensation to Missouri residents affected by radiation exposure traced back to the development of the first atomic weapons. The bipartisan expansion proposal was sponsored by U.S. reps like Cori Bush, Ann Wagner, and others.
New tonight, a controversial debate in Missouri has led to the unchecked proliferation of gaming machines, commonly seen in gas stations and convenience stores.
Senior investigative reporter Paula Bassan shows us why the debate over the legality of these machines has reached a boiling point.
The state of Missouri limits gambling to the confines of its 13 licensed casinos, which contribute billions in tax revenue to education and local communities. But now, unregulated gaming machines are sprouting up everywhere. We visited a gas station in Kirkwood to see these controversial devices firsthand.
It's a serious thing for sure.
19-year-old Sean Crozier lives nearby. He says most places do not even check ID.
It's becoming too accessible for, kids my age. I definitely have a fair amount of buddies that I know who have lost a good amount of money throughout gambling.
Missouri casinos require a minimum payout. They also mandate players are at least 21 years old. But these machines lack restrictions. Photos obtained by the I-Team show kids appear to be customers.
People are putting themselves at risk.
Chris Silke is with the American Gaming Association, an industry group representing casinos. He calls these games a national epidemic.
There's just a lack of transparency.
He says it means players are likely losing more money faster. Torch Electronics, a St. Louis County company, owns thousands of the devices in the state. We called and emailed. We visited their office. They did not respond.
The I-Team followed the money. Companies cannot privately donate to politicians under the law. The way around that is through political action committees. Public records show Torch Electronics has spent over $901,000 on political action committees since 2018.
It's about 4 times as much as what Missouri's regulated gambling industry has raised. Critics say it's helped certain companies evade regulation with virtually no accountability.
The issue is getting worse.
Missouri lawmaker Nicholas Schwar is pushing for regulation. He faces opposition from those who question if these machines are gambling. Under the law, gambling is a game of chance involving bets of value. Torch Electronics markets its machines as no-chance games. Players insert money and have the option to push a small button to reveal if they'll win, but only on the next play.
So you could theoretically lose $100 and win $1.
Correct. All of these different businesses are getting away scot-free.
So it looks like that.
For now, Crozier says gambling is always at his fingertips, from apps on his phone to his local gas station.
You look at gambling addictions for, middle-aged people and midlife crises, but nowadays it's getting to younger kids too, and it's a sad thing to see.
Right now, it's up to local prosecutors to interpret and enforce Missouri law. They determine what qualifies as gambling and the legality of these games. Meanwhile, complaints are piling up. The Missouri Gaming Commission, which considers these machines illegal, has received about 230 complaints this year alone. For the I-Team, Paula Vasan, 5 on your side.
And the I-Team wants to hear from you. You can leave a voice message with story ideas at 314-444-5231 or email Paula directly at pvasan@ksdk.com.
It's a federal law restricting the release of your medical information without your consent, but not everyone follows it. We verify what HIPAA does and doesn't protect. Back up and brewing again in the heart of downtown.
We can't even tell you how awesome it is to be right in front of this gem, this national landmark, reactivating the landing in an area that's historically important to St. Louis.
A look at Brew Tulum's Come Back.
And we're in storm alert and still watching that tornado warning around Fulton. And it does look like now that rotation is beginning to weaken. But a new severe thunderstorm warning does touch the western part of Gasconade County. I'll have much more on these storms that are out and about tonight coming up.
Today, the Supreme Court rejected a push to restrict access to abortion pills nationwide. The decision was unanimous. Mifepristone can still be mailed to patients without an in-person doctor's visit. The medication is used in nearly 2/3 of all abortions in the U.S. This decision comes 2 years after Roe v. Wade was overturned. Since then, a Granite City abortion clinic says patient numbers have doubled and out-of-state patient numbers have increased 750%.
People need abortion care for all sorts of different reasons, no matter where you live, no matter if you live in a state that allows abortion or if you live in a state that bans abortion. That doesn't mean that you don't need access to just general reproductive health care.
Missouri could see abortion back on the ballot in Missouri this fall.
We're opposed to that initiative petition, which may be on the ballot in November, and we're going to educate voters so that they vote against it.
Missouri Attorney General Andrew Bailey filed a lawsuit against the FDA for shipping abortion pills in the mail. Today, he tweeted that he is still moving forward with it.
Senate Republicans blocked a Democratic-led bill that would have put nationwide protections in for in vitro fertilization known as IVF. That bill would have established a federal right to IVF and covered it by insurance. Many Democrats say that since the Supreme Court overthrew Roe v. Wade, the protection of contraception and IVF are at risk.
For so many women, that lifelong hope of having children is now stuck in a hellish limbo as they remain uncertain whether more states will follow Alabama's lead.
Missouri Senator Josh Hawley voted against the bill, saying it would undermine religious liberty.
This isn't about IVF. This is about their continuing war on people of faith, their continuing war on anybody who won't go along with their abortion agenda. Their IVF bill is actually about abortion.
To know.
The proposal, though, did not mention abortion.
No.
It was 12 votes short of passing.
HIPAA has been a major topic of conversation over the past few years, especially as it relates to protecting health data from period tracker apps after Roe v. Wade was overturned, and asking about a person's COVID-19 vaccine status.
Verifies Adiane Detil clarifies some common misconceptions about the federal law.
The Health Insurance Portability and Accountability Act of 1996, widely known as HIPAA, is a federal law that restricts the release of medical information without a person's consent. There's a widely held belief that HIPAA protects all of your medical info. But is that true? Let's verify using these sources. Kate Spector-Baghdadi, a lawyer and bioethicist, says while people often feel like HIPAA protects them from being asked about their medical information or prohibits other people from asking about their medical information, neither is true. HIPAA's privacy rule sets regulations and limits on who can look at and receive a person's private medical information, whether electronic, written, or oral. But the rule only applies to 3 groups, known as covered entities. Those are health plan providers, most health care providers, and healthcare clearinghouses. The Department of Health and Human Services says many organizations that may have access to your private medical information are not required to follow HIPAA rules, including life insurers, employers, most school districts, and law enforcement agencies, to name a few. Student health records, for example, are considered education records under the Family Educational Rights and Privacy Act, and thus are not protected health information under HIPAA. HIPAA rules also don't protect your private medical data when you're wearing a smartwatch, like an Apple Watch or Fitbit, or using most period tracking apps, according to Consumer Reports. So we can verify, no, HIPAA does not protect all of your private medical information. With your Verify, I'm Adiande Till.
Do you have something you would like us to verify? Email verify@ksdk.com.
A coffee shop shuttered because of lead contamination is back up and running again, this time downtown. Brew Tulum closed earlier this year after lead levels were found to be 9 times higher than what was deemed safe by the EPA. The building's landlords hired a risk assessor that said there was no risk. Since then, Brew Tulum's owners set up pop-ups before finally finding a new home at the Cobblestone Market on Laclede's Landing.
We were just very fortunate to be able to collaborate with them and start running their coffee space. And it's kind of a beautiful story too, because one of the partners of the Cobblestone was actually one of our former patrons at our original spot. We would not be serving coffee again today if it wasn't for all of the support, the morale, the messages of people saying, you know, keep at it, we're waiting for you, we want you to get back open. Like, that's what drove us.
McNamara says Brew Tulum is opening another brick-and-mortar concept on 2nd Street in Lucas that's just a block away from the Landing location.
Let's check in with Jim Castillo again. We are still in storm alert, correct, Jim?
Yes, but I'm smiling more because these storms are dying down, which is good.
You said that might happen.
Yeah, you know, it's doing exactly what those models were indicating. We would get some showers and storms in here, and boy, the severe ones very close, and even some of those tornado warnings also. But that latest tornado warning allowed to expire, so no more worries for Gasconade County. But that is a severe thunderstorm warning right there that really touches western parts of Gasconade County. But noticing that cell is weakening. It's really the ones from Columbia north and westward that are all severe still. The ones around St. Louis, just regular showers and storms in here, even from Warrenton all the way to the east. But again, just watching that one cell, it is weakening. It's just south of Fulton, and you can see some stronger wind gusts within that. So that's why that warning continues all the way through St. Albert for just a little bit more here until 11 o'clock. Showers, storms, we had a lot of lightning around St. Louis. Numerous strikes and some, I'd say 30-mile-per-hour wind gust, and then some downpours all the way up to around Litchfield. And now some showers and storms even down around Jefferson County. We'll zoom in a little bit more around the metro, Arnold to Melville, all the way east of St. Louis to Troy. Again, all of these are sub-severe, and we're expecting them to stay below severe limits. So the front's making its way through here, 95 for that high today. Severe thunderstorm watch continues until about 1 a.m. Likely it will be canceled early here in some cases, but we'll stay here just in case a couple more cells pop up. And right now, looking out west, you know, earlier this was just lighting up with lightning, and it was just beautiful. Just looking west here around Clayton and into the Chesterfield area. So that future cast is showing the most intense storms definitely to the west of us, but we'll watch through midnight as some of the outflow boundaries, that rain-cooled air, kind of slams into that heat and humidity that we had throughout the day today. So again, if you get those stronger wind gusts within the storms, 40 to 60 miles an hour below severe limits, and pea-size hail, not expecting tornadoes, which is great. That one warning just west of Gasconade County was allowed to expire, and no flash flood warnings. So confirming what we said earlier. 82 degrees for that temperature right now in St. Louis after 95 for that high. The dew point way up at 71. Tonight's lows about 70 in St. Louis. And here we go, 10-day forecast. Look at this, goes right through Father's Day, Mike. Woo, it's going to be a hot one for you. I hope you have a pool.
I got to be here.
We have 99, but it's going to feel like 105, so it's better that you're here in that air conditioning.
As long as the air conditioning is working here, I think we'll be okay. Jim, thanks. Corey Miller is in for Frank with what's next in sports.
Well, the Blues have a new GM in waiting. The Cardinals have a winning homestand, and a former Illini player is breathing much easier tonight. Stick around, sports is up next.
This 5 on Your Side Sports Report is sponsored by Telly Tire and Auto Centers, driving your way since 1942.
He actually does bleed blue. Players feed off it. They fed off it when he played. They know that it's not just a job. It's a passion, and St. Louis is a passion.
On June 13, 2019, Alexander Steen was here, bringing the first Stanley Cup in franchise history back to St. Louis. Today, 5 years to the date, the former Blues forward had another reason to celebrate as the future general manager of the franchise he won a cup with. The Blues unveiled their succession plan this morning. Current president and general manager Doug Armstrong will stay on as GM for 2 more years, mentoring Steen in the ways of the front office. Army signed a new contract to stay on as president through 2029, but in 2026, the GM role is Steen's. I chatted with the owner, the current GM, and the future GM about the decision today at Enterprise Center.
More recently, early this year, as I said, Doug started making the case that, what we need is a new general manager, a new voice, a new approach, a new energy, those sorts of things.
Hockey's a big passion of mine. This city, this team is a big passion of mine. It's something that's grown, but it's always been in the back of my mind, something I've been interested in.
He's a special person and a great leader, and I think a lot of the things that he doesn't know are can be taught, but character, work ethic, and his passion can't be taught, and that's what gravitated me towards him.
It's about to feel like summer in St. Louis, not just in the forecast, but in the NL Central standings. Right now, the 4 teams trailing the Brewers are separated by less than 2 games. So the Cardinals needed to finish business today against the Pirates before heading to Wrigley for a weekend clash with the Cubs. Lance Lynn took the hill today, 3 earned runs in 4 1/3 innings. Goldie often heats up with the weather. Here's hoping this is a start. 2-run shot, that made it 2-0 Cardinals. Tied at 3 in the 6th, and Mason Wynn is going to keep it right there. Another dazzling play up the middle from the Card shortstop. Bottom 6. Brendan Donovan muscles up. That's his 5th homer of the season. It breaks the tie and gives the Cardinals a 4-3 win. Another tight ball game, which the manager doesn't mind.
It makes you better for when it matters. I mean, you think about all the games we've played, and they are a lot of 1, 2, 3-run ball games. It allows you to learn how to play in close games, and when you go down the stretch, that's what matters. And your ability as a team to not panic when you're down 1 or down 2, or you have to hold a 1-run lead from the 5th inning on. I think it does build character, and I think we will benefit from that here over the next several months.
Back to hockey, Connor McDavid, Matthew Tkachuk, Stanley Cup Final Game 3. Tied at 1 in the 2nd, and look who it is, Vladimir Tarasenko. He breaks the tie with his first goal of the series. Oilers tried to make a comeback, but they couldn't quite complete it. Panthers win 4-3. They are a win away from a Stanley Cup. Big news for former University of Illinois basketball star Terrence Shannon Jr. Today, the projected first-round NBA draft pick was found not guilty of rape in Kansas after a jury spent less than 2 hours deliberating. Shannon was accused of sexual assault in Lawrence, Kansas last year and ended up being suspended for 6 games. Shannon averaged 23 points for an Illinois team that reached the Elite 8 this past season. Day 1 at the U.S. Open at Pinehurst. Tough day for Tiger Woods. He actually birdied the first hole. That put him briefly at the top of the leaderboard, but it went south from there. Tiger's 4 over. This man, Patrick Cantlay, sits at the top of the leaderboard at 5 under alongside Rory McIlroy, and this course is playing tough so far.
You hit shots into where it's feeding off of slopes into flags, whereas collecting, here's everything's repelling. It's just hard to get the ball on top of the shells, because if you miss it short side, it's an auto bogey or higher. So being aggressive to a conservative line is kind of, I think, how you need to play this particular golf course.
You can watch the rest of the U.S. Open right here on 5 on Your Side starting tomorrow.
All right, Corey, thanks.
Still to come, a shelter overflowing with pets, how you can help a Metro East shelter and gain a family member.
A local shelter is trying to get more people to add new members to their family.
Gateway Pet Guardian says their East St. Louis shelter is over capacity and they can use your help. More than 70 dogs and cats are looking for forever homes. The shelter says during the summer they'll see people bring in litters of puppies and kittens for adoption. So it's expanding adoption hours from 2 to 6, Tuesday through Friday, and 9 to noon on Saturdays. They're also decreasing adoption fees up to $100 off adult adoptions.
All right, Jim has one final check of the weather. We've been in storm alert. We know the
Yes.
heat is here. What's happening with the storm right now?
All right, so we have some lightning and thunder out there, but you know, it's a lot less than what we had about an hour ago. And no warnings at this point. And that cell with the tornado, warning cell to the west of Gasconade County, is no longer rotating. And so it's weakening quite a bit. We'll zoom into that one. Probably some heavy rain with that and some winds up to about 30 miles an hour. So severe thunderstorm watch until 1 a.m. I bet you the National Weather Service will trim this, but we'll stay here and have any updates if needed.
And there you have it, 5 on your side at 10.
The Tonight Show is next, starring Jimmy Fallon. Kick off your mornings with Today in St. Louis. That starts at 4 a.m. Have a great tomorrow.